Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Today we are talking about a complex and wide theme, but I promise it will not be boring. So we'll talk about remote operations in mining segment. I'm Patrícia Herrera. I'm responsible for MOBA in Latin America. And as you may know, Latin America, we have a lot of mining industry. So let's take a look a little bit. But before, I want to introduce you to MOBA. MOBA is a German company. We are more than 50 years in the market. We have about 1,000 employees across the globe. We have actually nowadays more than 100 of active patents. We are a technology company. We develop components, we develop systems. We have about 70 subsidiaries all over the world, including in Latin America. We are located in Brazil. We have a very deep production depth in quality, in technology, and we have a worldwide support team. We are world leaders in paving segment, so we have a lot of technology to paving market. It's a completely different market from mining, and we have nowadays more than 1 million of components installed in machinery. Okay, so now let's go a little bit deeper in the mining industry. So here is a very quick overview about the mining industry. So in 2024, all worldwide, we have about $800 billion generated in this industry. So it is definitely one of the most important industries in the world. The most extracted ore are iron, coal, potash, copper. This, of course, in 2023. We have about 9 million people working in the segment. So it's a lot of people working. This is according to a statistic from 2020. And here are the largest companies by revenue in 2022. So we have Glencore in Denmark. We have Tianqi in China. We have BHP Group in Australia. Rio Tinto in Australia, and Vale in Brazil. Okay, so now let's stop talking about numbers, and I want to invite you all to a trip back to the past. Let's take a look how were the machines in the decade of 60s. So, imagine yourself working for 8 hours a day in this kind of machine. There was no cabin on it. Imagine yourself breathing the dust during the entire day, under the sun, under the rain. Imagine yourself working with that high vibration inside the cabin. Actually, there was no cabin. Imagine the heat. Imagine the noise. So it was impossible for this kind of person or this kind of worker to work for a long time in this kind of machine. So let's take a look to the 70s. 70s, we have something similar to a cabin. At least it was protected from the sun, right? But still a lot of vibration, noise, dust. In 1980, we start seeing some device to protect the operator, hubs and FOBs. So hubs is a rolling over protection. So if the machine roll over, the cabin will not be destroyed. The FOBs is falling objects over the cabin. So in order to protect the life of the operator. In 90, we see some technologies, initial technologies, to improve quality, to improve safety. And then in 2000, we start seeing all over the world machine control systems to improve quality, to improve productivity, and also to improve safety. Nobody was needed in the surroundings of the machine. In 2010, we start seeing autonomous projects. Whoa, this is a lot of technology, removing the operator from the cabin. And then in 2020, we start seeing the junction, the mix between autonomous and also remote operation. You understand a bit the difference between those two technologies in a while. So what is the backdrop of all this evolution? What is in behind? Initially, it was safety and health. More safety. Nobody was really, in the beginning, worried about the dust that the operator was breathing and the conditions, the vibration that he was exposed to, mostly safety. But also occupational health was one one main concern over the years, because a lot of workers in mining industry start getting sick and having diseases from the working, okay? Let's take a look about the mining disasters all over the world since the decade of 60s. As you can see, South Africa, China, Japan, Zimbabwe, India, Ecuador, Turkey, and Brazil. The last two in Brazil, we'll talk a little bit in depth because this is one of the main motives we evolved so much in the last few years. But as you can see, there are a lot of people died in the mining industry. So this is a signal that maybe the mining environment is not really for humans. Maybe it's too riskier for humans. Why we should be in the mining operation directly? Why we should be there working? Why our beloved should be there? So this is the point, and this is the backdrop of all this evolution. But let's talk about occupational health. So the person doesn't die, but the person gets sick and contracts some diseases over the time because of the job, because of the conditions. So exposure to toxic chemicals, this is very common in mining segment. Dust. Imagine an underground mine with silica. Even if you wear a mask, depending on the situation, you cannot be healthy for so long. The noise, the hearing loss, of course, but it's not just the hearing loss. This is new for me. I didn't know that the noise can cause also some musculoskeletal disorders. So this over time can destroy the health or can destroy the life of a person. Ergonomy, of course, also vibration, heat and cold stress, high altitudes. Imagine today I was looking for a mine in Chile, the highest altitude mines in Chile. They have more than 5,000 meters over the sea level, and another one that is more than 4 meters over the sea level. This is, I don't know if anybody here has the experience of being in Bolivia or Chile, and Peru, I think also, they have high altitudes. You give 3 steps and you have to stop and breathe. This is how it feels there. Imagine yourself working on a dozer in this kind of environment. So it's really not for humans. So a lot of companies, for God's sake, a lot of companies all over the world are nowadays more and more committed to ESG, so environmental, social, and governance. Many companies are really concerned about environmental sustainability, social responsibility, health protection, and well-being. And this, of course, there is something to do also with the younger generations. So all the countries, I talked to people from Canada down to South America, and all of them have difficulties in attracting younger generations. We are getting old. Actually, I'm not getting old, okay? So many companies have programs such as safety first, zero harm. So this is good. Zero accidents. The mining segment is one of the most hazardous environments all over the world. Okay, and what is the movement? What is the technology movement? So in 2010, the world was moving forward into the direction of technology for mining application. Brazilian market was step by step adopting new technologies, but we had 2 important facts, 2 important events that really turned the mining segment upside down. This was in 2015. We had a very serious accident. One of the dams in the mine collapsed and 19 people died. It was one of the biggest environmental tragedy in Brazil. We had 55 million of cubic meters of tailings. Tailings is the rest of the mining operation, of the process, the industry process. So 55 million of cubic meters destroyed the village with 600 inhabitants and affected one of the most important rivers in the country. So this was a tragedy. It was really awful. But before we Brazilians recovered from this accident, unfortunately, another one happened again in mining industry, another dam collapsed, but this time it was even sad because it killed almost 300 people. So it was really sad. So again, maybe the mining segment really is not for humans. Maybe we should use all the technology available over the world nowadays to take the people out from the production, put them in a safety place, right? So this accident, it was one of the biggest, actually, working accidents in the country. 12 million of cubic meters of tailings destroyed, part of accounting, 30,000 inhabitants, and it affected more than 300 kilometers of an important river. 26 cities were affected. And now, how does it feel to be a worker in the mine? How does it feel to be an operator? Because actually the operator of the machine operator is normally there in the production. They are there extracting the ore. They are loading the trucks. They are operating the drill rigs. They are transporting the ore to the plant. So how they feel? So in yellow are the most important ones. The rocks above our head could fall, and this could even kill you. These are real stories from a research. So here is the source if you want to take a look. Our biggest concern here on the ground is silica. Silica causes cancer, lungs cancer. Sometimes I feel so dizzy from all the noise down there that I prefer to lie down with my eyes closed and not talk to anyone until it passes. Even though we use PPE, PPE is the protection equipment. It doesn't reduce the difficulty of the activity. You know, it's hard. This is from real operators in mining industry. And this one, for me, is the most important because it's from my own husband. I thought there had been a regular detonation, that someone had forgotten to alert us. He was in the mine when the dam collapsed. So again, maybe, or definitely, we should use more and more technology to take people out from riskier areas. So after the accidents, we had a completely different story. The public ministry classified all dams in the country according to their risk and demanded that many of them were decharacterized. And this is the term. So they had to remove all the material inside the dam and they have to give another destination for it. So we start seeing more and more of remote operation because the public ministry said, okay, but you not put a machine with a driver inside that in this riskier area. We are talking about safety. So remote operation was mandatory. So there was a new era for earth moving in mining in Brazil. So of course, was a challenging times for all the companies and they had to adapt. They had, of course, initial difficulties. When you take the operator out from the cabin, the machine's cabin, this is difficult. The operator doesn't feel the machine anymore. The operator doesn't feel, for example, he's going into a high slope that could cause some problems, that could even damage the machine. But I think all these challenges are overcome now. Remote operations started for other applications. So nowadays we see remote operations and also autonomous operations in different applications. We see some parts of the mine that it is not really a risk like a dam collapsing, but they are starting to use this kind of thing. So if we come back now from 2019 to 2025, what we see is a lot of remote and also autonomous operation. But what is the main difference between two of them? Two of them are important. Both of them are unmanned operations, so there is no operator inside the cabin. In autonomous operation, we have a lot of technology, a lot of sensor, camera, LiDAR, everything you can imagine, artificial intelligence to make the decisions. So the machine, the technology makes the decision. The machines are intelligent, but different from what a lot of people think. The autonomous operation have an operator. This kind of operation, you don't have an operator per machine. but you have an operator in a control room, and this operator can assist more than one machine. So he's there just to do some intervention if it is necessary, and mostly to monitor the machine. And what about remote operation? It's also an unmanned operation. There is no operator inside the cabin, but there is a cabin. The cabin is in a safer place, and it reproduces exactly what is inside the machine, right? And here we have one operator per machine. So it is just like being inside the machine, but you don't feel the machine. The operator doesn't feel the machine like if he was inside the machine. So I already talked that safety and health, occupational health, was one of the main targets initially, but nowadays this is a tool to attract younger generations. The younger generation is the generation of influencers, social media. Do you think they want to go to a mine to work inside a machine during the entire day, breathing dust? Of course not. They don't want this. But if you say to them, oh, you operate a machine from far distance, this is a lot of technology, it is artificial intelligence. So this is how the mining companies, they are attracting younger generations, because the older operators, they are retiring. And who will assume this? This is a business that cannot stop. And another point is operational discipline. So imagine yourself in a mine with a lot of operators with 20, 30 years of experience. For sure, this kind of operator, they learned how to do the job by doing. So sometimes they have really bad habits that can impact the maintenance of the machine, that can impact the production of the machine. So when we talk about autonomous and even remote operation, the companies can create a standard, an operation standard. This kind of operator is much more technical than the conventional operator. He must to pay attention to sensors, to parameters, to cameras, and the conventional operator is just ability that he constructed over the years. So here we are talking about two different types of operator. So sometimes when I tell this, people say, no, you're wrong, because you don't feel the machine, the operator doesn't feel the machine, so he made a lot of mistakes. It could be, but let's think about time. In a conventional way, there is the shift change. So every day when the mine is changing the shifts, a bus go to the operation, get all the operators, take to the bus station inside the mine, and then the other operators come. So imagine this time, at least 40 minutes to be conservative, yeah? Detonation, every time there is a detonation in a mine, and if there is somebody here that worked in a mine, you know that this is very common. Every day, every week, it depends on the mine, depends on the type of ore, but it's very common. So again, the bus go there, pick everybody from the operational area, take them to a safer place, they wait the detonation, and then the operators come back. Lightning. In Brazil, we have a lot of lightning problems. So if there is a lightning alert, again, the bus go there, get everybody, take to a safer place, and then they come back. And rest. So like a dozer, I like dozers, so the operator of a dozer is not, and a drill rig also, is normally under a lot of vibration, and from time to time it has to rest. So in blue, I have the working hours. In gray are the time that is necessary to change. So when we talk about autonomous or remote operation, this gray time becomes working hours, because you don't have to do this anymore. It doesn't matter if it's raining or if it has a detonation or the shift change is faster. You can work with the logistics and place the bus station close to the operation, the remote operation center. So these numbers are from studies from colleagues of mine, consultants from mining industry. Here are the names. So between 14% and 20% of increase in productivity for dozers and drill rigs. So this is a lot. So we are not talking just about safety and health, occupational health, but we are talking about productivity, about quality as well, So we have other benefits when we talk about this unmanned operation. I would say unmanned operation considering both of them. So fuel consumption, 10% of reduction due to operational discipline and standardization. This is something that nobody ever could do with a conventional operation, because it's very hard to convince people to work in the right way. Okay, you should not move the dozer this way, you should not move the blade this way. And some people say, I do whatever I want, I'm very expert in this, I do this since 30 years. So here, when we talk about unmanned operation, we are talking about a better quality, a better fuel consumption, tires life cycle. So if we're talking about trucks, and this is very common for trucks as well, so you have the right conditions to drive the trucks, the heavy trucks, the off-highway trucks. Maintenance costs between 8 to 15% of reduction. Of course, you have a standard in operation. You don't have that very old operator that say, I do what I want. And less mine exposure time, which is, for me, is the most important. We are talking about lives. We are talking about health. Yeah. So when we reduce this, I think people will be more satisfied by the end, because they will not, it will not cost their lives, it will not cost their job, will not cost their healthy. But I think the best thing to see here in this autonomous or remote operation is one very special point. It is more inclusive. So here, a lot of people, everybody can be a machine operator. Take a look at this guy. This is Thiago de Souza. He works for a Brazilian mine. He's 43 years old. He lost his leg in an accident. He would never be a machine operator, a conventional machine operator, but he is an operator of an autonomous drill rig. And we interviewed him, and he said about the 3 main difficulties for the conventional operation for him. So first, high vibration. Normally inside the cabin, the operator is exposed to high vibration, and this really is tiring. By the end of the day, you are exhausting. Second, many steps, so the machine is too high, the machine cabin is too high. He has to really go up, and there are many steps, and because of his condition, he cannot go. And toilets. We are all humans, we need toilet, right? This is a basic thing. But for this kind of operation, and actually for road constructions as well, I've been working in a job site during some years, and toilet was the biggest problem. There is no toilets. And here we are talking about risky areas. It is impossible to put a chemical toilet depending on the case. So a car have to pick up the guy, take him to the toilet, and then he come back. But if he cannot wait, so this is a problem, right? So we are humans. So when we are talking about a remote or even autonomous operation, he doesn't have this kind of problem anymore. And these are his words. So autonomous technology doesn't allow you to make mistakes. Now, even individuals in wheelchairs can operate heavy machinery. So mining is for everyone. Yeah, so this is the greatest thing from the technology. We are not just increasing safety, increasing health and conditions, but we are more inclusive. Yeah? So, but what is the biggest difference between remote and autonomous technologies? This is an ecosystem. Probably you have heard about many machine manufacturers that have their own systems. Okay, I have an autonomous technology, or I have a remote cabin, but what is important to say is this is an ecosystem. So there are many different providers, technology providers. You have the provider that is offering the camera, the other one is offering sensors, hydraulic things. So it's like a machine. There are many components. It's an ecosystem. The difference is, in remote operation, the human is making the decisions. He is operating the machine from far distance. And in the case of autonomous operation, the artificial intelligence is commanding. So the operator is there just in case of something goes wrong, but the technology is commanding the machine. This is the biggest difference. And what MOBA have to do with all this? This is an important question. So MOBA we have technology to empower the autonomous machine operation. So we have sensors, we have controllers, we have displays, and we also have systems. For example, in Brazil, we have 3D systems working in remote cabins. We integrate with a remote cabin. So as I said, it is an ecosystem. So different types of technologies are needed there. There is a space for many companies. This is something that we are really evolving together. There is not just one unique provider. We have different types. And together, we are shaping the future of mining industry. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention. This is all I had to you today. Please visit our booth. We are close to here, not that far. Hall A2, stand 237. We have a lot of systems and components there, so you can take a look. Okay, here is my QR code. So if you want, here is my contact. Thank you very much.